Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the
It's time to change it up now because y'all brought up something. Yeah. That's just something to get y'all a little hyped up because we're switching up. We're talking about now the gender role part of it because Alana Boo and Freddie B strategically, without my prompting, brought up gender roles. Because that's what we saw when we were watching this show. What we were seeing being put on display is who and what we felt we should be and how we should be in this environment. What roles should we play? So what I want to talk about now that we talked about the black folks on it, and Freddie B, thank you for clarifying because they were British. They were not. I was about to say British American, but they're British, right? They were British. Yeah. So they may have a different bit of a outlook on life. So we're going to talk about these roles from the American point of view. Is that fair enough? Because all of us from here, right? We all from here. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes,
okay, good.
I am from here.
Okay, good. Great, you lied. What are some of the problems that we see in our community when it comes to gender roles today that we need to acknowledge? You know, like are we doing like those people on the island and we're kind of always skating underneath the white folks, or are we actually owning our own roles in our community? What are our problems? What do we see? Dr. Buddy Lee, I'll let you go. You got the doctor's title. Let me hear what you got to say. Dr. Buddy Lee.
Well, I will say when it comes to the traditional gender roles, a lot of things have changed.
Are there any problems that we need to acknowledge, though?
Well, one of the things I will say is when it comes to gender roles and equality, you can't have it both ways in a sense. And what I mean by that is, good example. I'm sitting down somewhere and then there's a young lady that walks in and she's standing up and everybody's looking to me to stand up to let her sit down. That's showing gender roles of a man is supposed to show chivalry and stand up and let her sit down. But if we're going to use equality, you came in later, you stand up, I'll sit down. But within, within our society today, it's a lot of black men are looked down upon, and because you hear this, I can do bad by myself, and it's putting especially black men in an awkward position because it's like, well, where do I stand here then? I mean, if you're saying you can do bad by myself, then I mean, how do you expect your house to thrive if you have children and you don't have somebody to lead the household out, everything outside the house up into the house, and then somebody to lead the house?
Got you. Well, can you answer me this question? So are there any problems in our community that we need to acknowledge today?
We need to get back to a tradition. We need to get back to family. And
so the problem with family
and a unit.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. So problem with family.
Because years ago, when welfare was brought in and things like that, a lot of these things were forcing the husband or man out of the household. You want to keep this free money or keep assistance, you can't have a man in the house.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Dr. Budley. So when I asked the question, what are the problems in our community that we need to acknowledge today? What I'm hearing from you is we need to acknowledge that we have a problem with the family unit. Am I getting that right?
Family unit and communication.
So those are two things. Okay, I'm gonna let the ladies. What are the problems that you see in our community that we need to acknowledge today? So, not family unit and communication. Any other things you see?
Honestly, communication is a big factor. Mm-hmm. Just the way men and women communicate within the black community itself historically has been a little taxing, a little trying. It hasn't been the best. So I definitely think that that's something that needs to be addressed within the black community.
Mm-hmm. I think we just need to. I honestly, I think the problem is with expectations. I just think that the expectations are unrealistic when it comes to gender roles. Like, yes, have traditional gender roles, but traditional when we talking about what our grandparents and grandparents was doing versus what we doing in the 21st century is completely different. So I just think the expectation needs to evolve like the time did.
So let me ask y'all this. What things should black men be required to provide? Because I love that you went to expectations. So what are some things that they should be required to provide?
So
black men, what should they be required to provide? Because I love that Shanette brought up expectations, right? You know, like, so we gotta really address that. What do we expect?
I would say, just like based on my household, I expect number one, because I did mention communication, so I expect someone that's going to communicate with me. I expect someone who is supportive in more than one way, not just, financially able to provide, but that also can bring some emotional support to the table. I know, like, historically, that has not been like one of the main expectations of a man, to bring emotional support. It's just been kind of like, provide the food, provide the, the safety and security of the family.
Right, but we don't want to talk about what's been back in the past. Like, what should we do?
No, that's
today?
what I'm saying. I'm saying that's what it was historical. But I'm saying for me as of now, like, I require more of an emotional support. So, it's been looked at that could be a feminine trait. Historically. They tend to, like Freddie B always says, that women are more emotional, men are more logical. So, a man that's a little bit more in touch with his emotional side, that's a requirement for me. Let's see, what else would I require?
Any other big ones? Because I'm gonna throw this to the fellas. I'm gonna ask them the same exact question. So
yeah, a certain level of maturity.
Okay, maturity.
Yeah.
Emotional
okay. Maturity. Some financial maturity. I want to be able to see that you are able to handle your finances, without somebody, there to, like, it's okay to have a financial advisor, but, I don't want to have to be the one to have to come in and rein in your spending. And, like, there should be a certain amount of control, like as you say, within yourself to handle that financially. Exactly. So self-control. Yeah. And just, I don't know, just really being, caring, just somebody that can provide on all levels, not just financially. Cause there's more to life than just being able to bring home the bacon, I guess you say.
And Shanette, anything you want to add to that? What should black men be required to provide?
My requirement is security. I need to know that I can let my guard down when the black man is there, especially as my partner. And security can come in different forms. One is definitely communication. The other is confidence. Like, as a black man that's going to be the head of my household, I need you to have enough confidence so that you can do what you need to do to provide me with what I need, with that security, that if anything happens, you know how to solve the problem. You have the confidence to go out and do it. There's a lot of external factors that are designed to tear down the black man. If you don't possess that confidence, I think you're going to struggle, which is going to make me struggle. And I'm not going to feel as secure around you because I'm constantly having to build you up. And don't get it twisted. I don't mind building up, the black man. But if it's going to take that just for you to go out and face the world, and you need that building up every hour of the day, your confidence is lacking. And I that's an expectation of mine. So I feel like that's a requirement.
Okay. Fellas.
One more thing I left off.
Add something to the list.
A sense of one more thing I have to add is spirituality.
Okay, spirituality. Okay.
Yeah. So because, I am a Christian and, I try to live my life a certain way. An expectation that I have of my man is that, he has his own relationship with God, because in my household, I do believe that the man is the head of the house. And in order for you to lead me, I need you to be led by God.
Okay. So, men, what things should black women be required to provide?
Support.
I got a question.
Support.
Okay.
What would you say, Dr. Billy?
Support.
Okay.
I got a question. So
go ahead, Freddie.
Are we gonna talk about like both? Like, are we gonna answer what black men and black women, and they gonna answer what black men and black women, or are we doing?
No. We just want you to answer what you believe black women should be required to provide for you inside of this family unit. These because the reason why the first question we had, I don't know if you were following along, but we went when Shanetta said expectations. That's where I jumped off because I want to figure out what are these expectations we have. So
right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and then you went into the question, and when they were speaking about black men, I had a sermon about what black men should do. But if we talking about black women,
yeah, you give a sermon. Don't give a sermon now.
low key, just sermon on what black men should provide, what they should be doing. But black women, speaking about black women should be nurturing. And when I say nurturing, because like I said, going back to, I kind of alluded to it. Piggybacking off what Alana Boo said earlier about black women running the home and the man running the house. You know what I mean? And it's the reason why I use those two terms, not because, Thomas, I'm a big linguist and, very big on like specific words and you have a house and you have a home and a home has to be made. A house is tangible. The home is intangible. A house
can be built. A home has to be made. That's right. I think that's what you were looking
at. Exactly. And so, but the home isn't made until the house is built. You know what I mean? Exactly. And so that's like that's that whole concept of, the woman being able to nurture, like all the things that I bring into the house. I go out and I provide for the house, that then she can turn it all into those intangibles for the family. She can nurture all those things. So I can bring home that house. She can make it a home. I can bring home resources and she make it a warm environment for the kids to relish in, for them to matriculate in. So I'm providing the structure for the
college
home. Right, exactly. Yeah, I'm providing the structure for everything, and then she's nurturing everything within that structure. She's making it grow. I'm providing the seed and the water and the plow, and then she's making that seed a potato. Or or parsley. She's actually making it parsley because she's putting it all together to make it germinate and grow. And so that's what I definitely would say, that woman being able to manifest things from the things that I brought to the table.
Okay.
Whether that be me, children, or even like things.
Okay.
And that's something that Miles Monroe used to say. He said, fellas, just be careful what you bring to your ladies, because what they're supposed to do is multiply it. So kind of like what Freddie B was saying, if he's bringing all this to the table, she's going to multiply it.
So from the men, I hear support and nurturing,
which they go hand in hand. They're both one and the same.
Okay. And from the women, I hear,
be trying to piggyback off my Anthony.
Y'all competitive. See y'all on the island again. See what I'm saying, lady? Niggas gonna kill each other. Nigga want to make it off the island. From the women, so from the men, I'm hearing support and nurturing. From the women, I'm hearing supportive, emotional maturity, financial maturity, self-control, caring, providing all things, security, confidence, and spirituality. So I want y'all to notice something there. What did we just observe? Just from me reading that back to y'all.
The women require more.
Okay.
The men were very simple and to the point. Women were very complex and convoluted.
Well, I didn't say any of that. Y'all did. So let's go with that. We're gonna go with that.
I didn't say any of that. You said that.
You said that. Right. You, sir, said that. I just want to make it. No, but that's interesting.
I mean, but I do really want to say this. Like, I kind of like what the men require. I think the women kind of tap dance around the whole deal. I don't know if I'm just really with their answers.
Well, we'll find out. We're gonna keep on. We're gonna keep going. We're almost there. We'll keep going. Okay. So here's the thing. I initially started this conversation about gender roles off with the question. I started with Dr. Bully. I said, what are the problems in our community that we need to acknowledge today? And the whole show, before we talked about the island, we played a clip that talked about the difference between how we feel and what the truth is. How we feel and what the truth is, right? Are there? Oh, this whole show's been a setup. Are there?
It would be T-Stapes if it wasn't.
It wouldn't.
Right,
Yeah, that's how we
this
do it.
thing right here.
Are there any falsehoods about our condition as black people that we need to let America know today? Let's just talk about them. What are the things that we are holding deep down inside that we not talking about? What are we not acknowledging? Right now on the line, I have a married woman. I have a divorced man. I have a single male and a single female. Am I correct?
Correct.
Yes.
So we got a little bit of the gamut. All of you guys got one thing in common. You're black. Actually, you got more than one thing in common. You're black in America. And that says a lot. Because in America, there's been a lot of expectation placed on us as black people. You hear it all the time. Women, you got to be what? What you got to be in America? Strong. Strength.
Yeah.
Man, what you got to be? What does America say about men all the time?
Not so angry.
No, more than that. More than that. Don't be aggressive. Not angry. They use a specific word, aggressive. Am I right? Am I correct?
Yeah, that's true.
This is the narrative.
Yep.
Okay. What are the falsehoods about our condition as black people? Because we're not thriving right now. Okay. 80% of women are single. 80% of our black women. And there's a statistic that says 75% of the black women will never see marriage in their lifetime. That's scary. There's a statistic that says that there's 50% of black men who are single, heterosexual, and childless and make $50,000 or more, which means that, in my estimation, there are eligible bachelors that could marry at least another 50% of that 80% that's single or not gonna get married. What are we not addressing in our community? We do not have family units like we used to have. The family unit has been destroyed. How do we fix it?
I think for black women, part of me feels like we've had to choose between being married and starting families and building our careers. I think that black women have been trying to show that we are equal when it comes to men and white women. Honestly, we try to have to be better than the white woman and then the man. And so I think that a lot of our focus has gone towards getting degrees, trying to further our education, and then moving up in our career path. And that doesn't take, 2 to 3 years. We're not settled enough in what society feels like we should be. So we keep going, and then we look up, and then there's no time for the marriage and the family. So I think that we get pressured a lot in that aspect.
The independent woman, right?
Yeah, and a lot of it is not that we choose. I think that we want both, but it's just that it's not aligning the way that we want it to. And so we've had to choose between marriage and the family or our career.
I'm going to play you guys a little clip to help frame the conversation, because I think it's important to know that when we watched that island show, we were watching more than just a show about survival. Here's another clip from Mrs. Ali that I want y'all to take a listen to. I hope you can digest this, and then we can get back to the conversation. Take a listen.
They did not tell us that all of that, being my own person and I'm independent, would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. You know them women that had men if they got a bunch of children. They need fathers. Having an education and a job does not necessarily mean you have a successful life. I keep telling black women that to raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child, that's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the black female emotionalism. They become bitchy, they're doubtful, they're indecisive, they can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man because we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge. We have daughters who grow up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man, because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television. It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together.
Damn television again. Here we go.
Those rules have not worked for us. The white woman's liberation movement, we don't have anything to do with that. We have not been under the control of the black man for over 500 years, so what do we have to get liberated from them from? They haven't been our boss. That's the white woman and her man. They're going through that, and that's their business. We don't have any business being in that. They only introduced it to break down the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement started with the black man, the black woman, and the black child standing together, trying to plead for freedom, justice, and equality, and more benefits in the country that they had built. They threw the white woman in there with the women's liberation movement and made it a woman against man thing. That created a big separation between black men and black women because then everybody started going for self. Then they bring the welfare system in and tell us in order to feed and clothe and house our children, we have to give up our man. You have to put the man out of the house. When the white farm wife goes to the government for subsidy for the farm, they don't tell her to get rid of the farmer, they keep that family together. But in the black community, they make it a requirement because they want to keep endorsing into the black community that the black man is no good.
Whew. Ooh.
She said a mouthful.
Ooh.
Damn.
She said a mouthful.
Sure did.
So, let's ask this question. Whose standards are we measuring our roles against? Who's right in this situation? Are we measuring our standards against a white world? Or are we just on an island with a bunch of white people and we just going, whatever they do, we doing it? Who did you look at for your example of how to be a man? And ladies, who did you look at for your example of how to be a woman? I know the answer to a lot of boos.
You always know my answer.
I guess hop in there. I would say my vision on what I look for in a man, it's all relative because I look at a kind of referencing what to expect out of a black man. I think about just being a leader and a good leader, and you think about leaders, and so the top of the food chain where it starts is King Solomon. So that's where it starts for me, and then it goes to just different entities of personal people that I've met throughout my life. People, men who've been married for years, who have governed a household and take care of the house, and their wife has been a housewife, and they've raised children. Children went on, and they got some solid children. And then looking at just leadership qualities from in the past of people who have ran kingdoms and all these different types of things. And like I said, just looking at what it means to be a leader and understanding like it means to be a leader is amalgamating knowledge and wisdom. You know what I mean? Like knowing that me by myself alone, what I'm equipped with, I can easily glean from. If I can take the knowledge and wisdom of 100 men and embody all that into one person, then that means I can be 100 men in one, and then I can govern my household and be a quality and effective leader and know how to approach each situation.
So not to cut you off, but so you're looking at other leaders. That's where you look at for your example of manhood.
Yeah, across the spectrum. Yeah, whether they're black, white, Asian.
Shanette, who do you look for your example of being a woman? Where did you get that model from, per se?
Oh, I definitely got it from my mother, who is deceased now, but she definitely gave me a great example of what a black woman looks like. I just think it's difficult, I think, to answer that question about the standard, because I at the end of the day, I feel like we live in a white world. We don't live in a black world. So I think that it's kind of hard to say what standard we live by, because the world we live in is a white world.
I think that's interesting because we ever really been examined internally, not the external thing that we know on television, but the actual internal examination of ourselves, and had a presentation of what that is. I don't think we've had that. I really don't think we've had that, because we don't know a world where there's a control group, right? I mean, Freddie B is the only one on the line that I know that been to Africa. Shanae, have you been to Africa?
I have not.
Dr. Butler, you been to Africa?
No, but it's on the list.
Alana, you been to Africa?
Nope.
And Thomas hasn't been to Africa. And so we don't even have a control group by which we can measure against our own blackness outside of slavery, right? Because that is our origins here in America. And so when we ask that question, whose standards are we measuring our roles against? That, I think, will start to help us at least come back to some type of family unit eventually. And this is the reason why. It's because you now have to address where I learned my actions from. Because most people learn their actions from their parents or their immediate community or TV, right? Mm-hmm. But your parents, where'd they get them from? Their group. Where'd their group get it from? Their group. And the further we trace back, it don't look good for us, right? The further we trace, we got to trace back to before slavery, before we actually have a control group that even we can now say, okay, let's look at what they was doing. They look like us, at least. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think that question has to be something that we all take away. Now, she mentioned something about the black woman in strength. So I had a question. What is the proper uses of a black woman's strength? Or has a black woman's strength been weaponized in America today? Do y'all feel that?
Oh, it's been definitely weaponized. White women have weaponized the hell out of some black women's strength.
In what ways do you feel like they've been weaponized, Freddie B?
I mean, with Miss Ali, that clip that you played, like, I mean, I've never even heard that clip, but I've echoed, probably 98% of what she said. I've literally said, you think about like she said, the women's liberation, feminism. She took the black woman, and like what she said, black women hadn't been under the control of black men in centuries. But she went like, hey, you need your rights. Guy in the air, you need your rights. You need to fight for your rights, and because you woman, hear you roar. You need to be professional. You need to do all this stuff, and then it's led to kind of what why was I about to say Shanice again? Why is that name in my head?
You mean Shanette?
Yeah, Shanette.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know why, like Shanice, the singer Shanice, is all that's on my head. I don't know. But to reference what she said earlier about having to choose. And that's the thing, like, it's just innate. It's just ingrained in a lot of women, which that's actually common. And I hear it a lot. A lot of women feel like they need to choose between a family and a career. And it's like, you don't have to choose. Like, why is there a choice? Why do you have to forsake and eschew having a husband, starting a family, and working and going into your career and all that other type of stuff? Like, and because the thing is the sad case for a lot of women, they choose, but they still got feelings. They still got these urges, and I want to have sex, and I want to do this, and then they end up getting knocked up 1-2 times, and they're professional, and then also, even on top of that, I just read this article, and it's been proven the higher women go in education and corporate environment, usually the higher level of toxic men they get involved with.
Oh, that's deep.
Like that's a known thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the more degrees a woman get, the higher she goes in corporate America, usually the more toxic of a man she's involved with, and especially apparent with a black woman, because then even on top of that, other races ain't checking for black women. Like, it's not like black women just, you gonna marry out, you gonna meet a white guy, you gonna meet this Asian guy, and then you gonna live happily ever after, because they not checking for black women. Like, you can, and like I said, that's not me trying to be harsh. You can literally pull up blackdemographics.com. You can go to brookingsinstitute.org. You can go online and look at marriage demographics, and you can see that the group of people in this country who are least likely to marry outside their race are black women. And then you can look at other things where the group of people who are least desirable are black women. So you have both those on both sides. So it's like, the thing is that as a black woman, like, there's no reason at all. There's no logical reason that any black woman can say on why she's putting off meeting her man, starting a family, getting married for her career. That's the most detrimental thing you can do based on all the demographics, all the stats that we have, that all the way up until this point. But that's been believed based off the women liberations and to break up the black family.
Exactly.
So then these kids are being raised by single mothers. Like what she said, a single mother raises a feminine man and a masculine woman. And so then when you're a masculine woman, then you're just seen as a jump off. Men don't want to be involved with a masculine woman because you remind them of themselves. Like, I just smash and pass and roll out. Not, I want to be in a relationship with you. Like, so, for example, Lana Boo.
Well, Fred,
like,
before you go, you going deep.
Okay, go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, don't go so.
I thought you were gonna play the music.
Well, no,
okay,
no, I'm about to cut you off here because I want the ladies to respond to what you said. You know, ladies, what do y'all think about what he's talking about?
Well, let me add one more thing to that too.
You're gonna give him a whole lot. Like, it's a lot to wrap up in one nut.
Yeah, but you got to include this to it. All right, some women put themselves, because they've gotten the education, they got the job or the career, whatever else, they feel that they should have a certain caliber of man. But some men who of that caliber are not looking to settle down or to be with somebody, just one person or whatever else. So they're trying to convert this one man, you know, like he was talking about the toxic relationships. They're trying to convert. They want this man to be a good provider, a husband, and all these other things, but
he has no desire to be that.
Right, and because he's making six figures or $1 million a year, or whatever else, and he has all the physical attributes that they want, but the person that they genuinely need might make half of what they make, but they would actually make a nice household.
But that's not really an option for a woman. Not really an option.
I know. So you see how? So you see why I tried to stop you, Dr. Billy? How it gets convoluted real quick. So ladies, did y'all remember what Freddie B said? Freddie B, can you recap, or do y'all need to recap real quick so they can respond to that? You got it, Shanette. If you got it, you can take it.
It was a lot to unpack.
But that's what I was saying. He was going down. So I was trying to give y'all some time to take a breather and get something out. So go ahead.
I was going to respond about the comment about the attraction to the toxic man.
Okay.
I actually believe that. And I'm going to tell you why. Because when a woman has it all together, men seem to be intimidated by her. And I'm going to tell you this. You know what a toxic man has is confidence. And when
one of the things you did require.
Man,
you did require
right.
that. Yeah.
And so when a toxic man comes into your life, now keep in mind, we don't know they toxic when we receive them. Let's start there. We figure that out along the way. But when they come into our life, they have that confidence, that swag, and it's not they're not intimidated as opposed to the men that we probably meet. They are immediately intimidated. When I'm dating, I can't tell men accomplishments that I have right off the bat, because the fear is that I'm going to be told you got it all together once again, and that immediately makes them run. And that toxic man seems to come in and not be worried about all of that, and so we fall for it, and then down the line, that's when we realize it.
Okay, so that's her response to you, Freddie B. Now I'm gonna leave it like that because I want to make sure, for time's sake, we're doing this thing that I like to call "let the people think." Freddie B, Dr. Buddy Lee. Now I got another question for you.
Yes.
Now I like her response to you, Freddie B, but can you respond to this?
What?
Have black men? What you said?
Well, I got so much to say. Go ahead, Tommy.
Well, I like this I've heard that response before. I think that's honest. That's an honest response that women have to that. But have black men had to operate under preconceived notions? So similar to black women in their strength, we just had a discussion on strength. Let's talk about this. Have black men had to operate under preconceived notions, like no good, walks out, doesn't love his children, or as Shanette just said, toxic?
We always under that. We always deal with that.
Black men
had to operate. Yes. So things we do in the regular everyday life, we're operating under these preconceived notions when we try to get in relationships. We try to date these women.
Because sometimes we can't even feel like
fail.
we can't even fail without not hearing the end of it. No,
I mean, I think it's the squeaky wheel get the oil. You know what I mean? It's like, the loudest one gets the attention. You know what I mean? Those are the loudest one. But as like, you look at statistics, the majority of men aren't toxic. The majority of men want to be married, want to have children, want to start a family. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now I'm reading here. I also left something out of my statistic, which is not incarcerated. That 50% statistic. These are men who are not who've not been incarcerated, make over 50,000, are single and childless. So go ahead.
Right. So yeah, I mean there are a bunch of men who fit that narrative of like quality, at the very minimum, a average quality man, and then you got your PTP is triple. That's my little terminology. Triple T's the talented 10th. PTP is primetime players, primetime men. You know what I mean? So you have a big chunk of those men who exist there, but it's a lot of women get caught up in this superficial thing. So like, to kind of what she was saying, like toxic man is like these powerful women, and women period, like they get caught in the superficial things in men, like, oh, he's cute, he's clever, he's funny, he's spitting the game, and the thing is that if he's toxic, he knows that work, and that works hook, line, and sinker for women all across the board. But the thing is you got a lot of women who don't understand what it means to be a woman. They themselves aren't whole themselves. They don't understand what it means to be a woman and who they are.
How does that affect the toxic
and what it means to be a wife?
Well, how does that affect, like, with women not understanding, in your opinion, what it means to be a woman? How does that address the toxic masculinity? Because
toxic men can smell blood in the water.
Okay.
As soon as they get around, like, I mean, I'm sure Thomas, Buddy Lee, any dude here is like, we've had conversations. We know what dudes say when men talk. Dudes will be around women and know, like, oh, she a flipper. She going. Oh yeah, I can snatch her up and run wild with her. They can smell blood in the water. These professional women, they get around them and see, like, oh, it's blood in the water. She got money and she'll go. Boom, she'll go. And so it really has nothing to do with confidence. It's the other side of the men, like, because usually those professional, real high up women, they're very masculine. They want things to go their way. They don't know how to listen. And so another powerful man, he's not going to deal with that because he understands what time means. So it's like when you having a conversation. So like you just heard that, what she just said. So that's what I'm saying. Like when you having a conversation with somebody and they don't even want to listen to what you got to say. See, like when I said listen, she probably construed that as obey, which that's not the same thing, right? Listening is just hearing somebody and like, okay, what are you saying? And being feminine about it and understand, like, hey, look, if we're dating, this cool. Like you're like kind of what Alana said earlier. She understands, like, okay, her man, head of the household. She got, she not gonna come at him and be like, what? Hold on, wait, who are you saying? What you? Hold on, wait, no, who you? And doing all that arguing and all that bumping of the lips. It's like, hey, let's just have a conversation. Because when you have a professional, powerful man who understands what it means to be a leader, he's not gonna go back and forth with you. He's not gonna argue, especially not with his wife or his woman. He's like, okay, you good? Because the thing is, if you're a professional, powerful man who's a leader, you got a lot of women want that man. So if you gonna argue with me, I don't have to deal with this. Why do I gotta deal with this headache when I can just dump you and then find another good woman who, okay, here we go. This is a woman I can talk to and live with. Okay, this is who I'm gonna marry and move on. And so then now you left with the toxic man who let you run everything because he ain't got nothing going for himself and you gonna pay for everything. Cool, I'll deal with that. And then I'll bust other chicks down on the side. And you don't know nothing about it. And once you figure it out, like, okay, cool. I got my shoes, clothes, and car. All right, this gravy train up.
Okay, so
that's how it works.
So let me ask you this then. So from your conversation there, I'm hearing that you're looking, or not you're looking, but you think that women should be more willing to submit versus,
Yeah, I mean, the thing, and see, that's a whole nother conversation with
well,
submit.
because
the thing
it goes with listen, because listen
No. I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay,
but I'm just gonna keep it light. Basically, is what I'm saying. But the thing with submit is these professional women, they'll go to work and submit, but they can't submit to their husband, and that's the crazy thing because people, you hear the word submit and they think it means subservient, which it doesn't mean subservient. Submit is the root word of submission, under the mission. So it's very clean and cut dry. But like I said, they'll go to work and submit to their white boss. Have no problem doing that, but then come on to their black husband and can't do the same thing. And so like that's why you bring that word up. A lot of black women are scoff at it, but it's like, where you work? Oh, you work at American Express? Oh, who your boss? John Thomas. Let me see a picture of him. Oh, okay, when you go to work, he tell you what to do every day and you do it. You don't question it at all. But when you come home, you can't do that. But that's the thing, like it don't compute for them. Because they want to run the show.
Well, it don't even have to be their boss. It could be their father. It could be their brother. It could be cousins, uncles. I mean, it could be anybody else, but they'll give more respect to that person versus to their husband.
And let's just be clear: submit is to agree. It is simply to agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the word has been construed.
It's very innocuous. The word is very innocuous in its meaning.
Well, I think what has happened is the word has been taken,
bastardized.
It has been used, and it has been used as a covering for the word subjugate. I think that is what has really happened at least in the black community, is when women hear the word submit, they're really thinking of the definition subjugate. Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is from my findings from talking to women over and over and over. Yes. I ain't gonna submit. What does that mean to you? So let me ask you this, ladies, what does submit mean to you?
For me, it means exactly how y'all defined it. I have no qualms about submitting. It's not a point of contention for me. It's not a problem for me. Again, but as we discussed in a previous podcast, I am in the minority. And I feel like a black unicorn. I have no problem with the word. Me and my husband, the way our household is ran, I have no problem to submitting, to my husband in any form. So I have no problem with it. So that's my opinion.
And Shanette, and I got another question for the ladies too. So we're not done. We're just getting this question out the way, then I ask her.
Okay.
So and then Shanette, what do you think? Submit. What is it?
Oh, I agree. I think you agreeing to whatever the situation is. Like, I don't know what woman is submitting at work and not submitting at home. I don't know those type of women. I don't understand how that can happen. But I don't think that that's a negative thing. I think it's all about the communication of what that is. That's it.
And I think also too, there's been a confusion. We have taken that word. I hear women arguing with men about submission, and when you ask them, what they think the word means, and they'll say, "Well, he's trying to dominate, control." Well, I said that sounds like subjugation to me. Right. That is a different word altogether. That has nothing to do with you being submissive. That has everything to do with him controlling you, which is a whole nother. That's something we're not talking about. So, ladies, okay. When we talking about like I asked the men about the the things that the preconceived notions, right? And I asked about the weaponization of a black women's strength. Do you feel that black men have seen the strength of black women being used properly anywhere in our society? And if so, where? Like, can you speak to that?
Well, have we seen it being used properly?
Yeah, because we know that the black woman over the years has been required to take on more of the household roles of rearing children by themselves. And we're not saying in specific cases, but we're just saying in general. There's a lot of single mothers out there, right, that we know about.
There are.
So there's been this show of strength that they've had to display. But I don't think black men, and this is my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that black men have seen the strength of black women being used properly. I think the way it's been used has been to keep our relationships apart.
I mean, I can only speak to my, my upbringing in my household. Of course, I grew up in a 2-parent household, and
talk about it.
That makes a world of difference.
Amen.
So, my perspective again is in the minority. growing up in a 2-parent household, I saw the dynamics between man and woman. I saw my mother actively submit, in the relationship. So that's why it's not a problem for me, because I know what that looks like. I know it wasn't a situation where he was controlling and dominating and, and all those negative things that they tend to put with the word submissive. So for me, it's not a problem to submit. But outside of my household, I can't see that there have been a lot of examples of it's more so women having to be strong and having to raise the children by themselves, and almost out of survival.
Does that inadvertently destroy like black men, like because women have to raise these kids by themselves and they end up having to be the teachers to these new black men which come up and do the same thing? Is that like an inadvertent thing that's happening? It's a cycle.
It's a vicious cycle. Right vicious. Now, yeah, it's a vicious cycle, and it's definitely a topic that needs to be on the forefront, of the topic of conversation at the forefront, because the black family is not going to be able to survive if we continue down this path.
There's this idea now that the black women's strength being used to raise black children, which have come up to again be to create this vicious cycle, as you say, is a misuse of the black woman's strength. There's this idea now that's starting to creep up, and you've seen it with the rise of the manosphere on YouTube. People like Kevin Samuels and O'Shea Jackson and people like that who are like all these manosphere things. There seems to be an opportunity for us to maybe fix this thing, but it may not be easy. So what I'm going to ask everybody are there any thoughts on the idea of black men and women unifying by force?
It's needed. Because
we've been trying to do the nice thing. We've been doing the sweet thing for a long time, but it almost seems like we need listen, you with her, he with her, you with him, type situation. So are there any thoughts, anybody can answer this, on us unifying by force? Because the women been making money, but then they find toxic men. The men sitting out here single, but they can't get no woman. So they just decide, well, we'll just sit on the side like we don't care. They've decided to survive on their own.
I mean, I think is going to be incredibly difficult because you have so many different forces pulling on both sides. Like for example, I just read this article about Goldman Sachs is investing $10 billion into black women. So it's $10 billion over the next 10 years.
Oh yeah,
so it's $1 billion a year into black women, just black women to increase black women entrepreneurship and promotion through in business.
Is that going to further separate us? So
yeah, I think so. And the reason why I say that is, I know. I mean,
but Freddie B, like $10 billion into black women. That sounds like a good thing to me. Shit. Come on now.
I mean, the reason why I say that because I did some research, like I said, going back to Black Demographics, BrooklynInstitute.org, and what they did in studies that they've done about demographics, and what they found unanimously across the board is that every race it goes with its men. So the white race, Asian, black, and really any cultural group as well. So you break it down, cultural groups, Latinos. And what have you, like as the men deteriorate, the men fade, the whole cultural group or the whole race fades. Like it's based upon the men, and that's what they found. So if black women succeed and they go up and the men stay stagnant, that means the black race stays stagnant because, like I said, going back to the other facts and data that they showed was that the higher black women go up, the more likely that they are to be involved in toxic relationships, and they end up being single mothers. So
should these women go down to like the old fashioned dating style, and the woman cooks and cleans and the man goes and works? Do you think that would be?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I think that we live in a world because the middle class is shrinking to where you have a larger poor class, quote unquote, a larger rich class, And so, it may have to be like, okay, they both parents are working and they both coming together to figure out what's going to happen in the household. But it ultimately has to be where, the black woman's first thought is black man. Black man's first thought is black woman. Period, point blank. And like I said,
and that's the by force thing. That's some of the stuff they talk about in the by force.
Yeah,
we got to make an intentional dating, prerogative.
Right, and it's really difficult because the more money a woman makes, the less likely she is to respect her man. Period. You know what I mean? Let alone just a black man. If a woman is making $300K and your man makes $70K, like it's so hard for her to even respect him. It's like only a very few select women.
Now, Shanette, is this true?
Situation.
Have you been? Is this true? Because I'm assuming, Shanette, you're a woman of means.
Yeah,
based on the conversation.
But you have to understand, we desire support. So yes, we would love a man to financially, equal, be equal to us or make more than us.
So I guess my question more or less is to what Freddie B's saying, where you say you got a woman's $300K. Could that woman be okay with the $70K man or less?
I mean, I think she can be okay. I don't think it's going to be a lot of them. I think she can. I mean, you got to understand. I mean, $70K is still a decent salary. So you just have to.
It ain't decent. $300K.
It's still decent though. But I mean, but she can use it. But she can lose that $300K job the next day, and they're gonna be living off that $70K salary, and she gonna make it work, and he gonna make it work. So yeah, I mean, I think there are women that can be with that $70K man. I'm not going to say no for all women because that's not the truth.
Buddy Lee, is it okay to be satisfied with less?
Say that one more time.
Is it okay to be satisfied with less?
I do agree that you. I believe that the two should get together. If she's making more and he's making less, I believe they should have a conversation about it. But it usually doesn't happen.
But is it okay to be satisfied?
It should
with
be.
less? Okay.
I mean, it should be because there are people who make $40,000 a year and live comfortable. I mean, they can't splurge a whole lot, but they're comfortable. Mm-hmm. They're able to take a trip. They're able to do whatever, and right. There's only one income coming into the house. I mean, so.
But I think we missing the point of it all is a woman living the rest of her life with a man that makes considerably less than her, and knowing every day that everything that is paid, that she's paying the lion's share of it. When they go on trips, they paying, like, she knows, like, I'm essentially paying for all this. And that's what I'm saying. Like, are there women that can do it? Of course. Like, yeah. I mean, I would never say. I mean, like, nothing is worth absolute except for death and taxes. So, are there 1, 2, 10, 100 women that can do it? Of course, yes. But generally speaking, women are not interested in being in a relationship with a man where she makes considerably more than her.
And now, Freddie B, that's based off experience? Are you talking facts or experience? This is your own personal survey of women?
It's my personal survey and it's overall data.
Okay.
And I've actually asked people about that. How do they feel about that? And I've heard quite a few say that the respect factor does go down when he's making less.
It's like this. It's like, let me ask you this. Let me ask y'all this. What do you call a woman who sits at home, doesn't work, and just takes care of the house? And then what do you call a man who sits at home and doesn't do anything and just takes care of the house?
A homemaker versus a bum.
There you go. There you go. A man who does not have a job. If you met a man like, oh yeah, I don't work, I just stay at home and I clean. What?
But I asked if old fashioned, if what is considered old fashioned today, is that out of date? Can people stay at home cook and clean?
Nah, I don't think it's out of date. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's out of date.
But let's flip it for the man. Could the woman go to work and the man stay at home and cook and clean in our community, in the black community?
I mean, really, in anybody's community.
I know of some people. I know of some soccer dads. I do know of a few, but you don't hear of it too often.
It's not popular.
I don't think it's accepted in the black community, but you don't know if that's how your house is ran and it's efficient and successful, then more power to you. But I don't think it's accepted. But if that's how the household is being ran and we happy, then it is what it is.
But who's happy? That's what I'm saying. You said, is that? Could you be happy? Could you be happy?
Yeah,
you go to work, he don't work, he just stay home. Is that what you want?
Man just staying home. He is still contributing to the household, whether that is doing things around the house, helping with the kids, whatever the case may be. No black man is just sitting in the house waiting for me to come home.
No, so my question is, would you be okay? He did not work. You paid all the bills, everything that had to be paid. It came from you because you went and worked, and he stayed home and took care of whatever needed to be taken care of at the house, clean, cooked, and all that. But you pay for everything. All trips, all bills, all car notes, you paid for.
Honestly, I don't know. I just gotta be honest. I have no idea. I mean, it would take some adjustment. I mean, he got to be coming with some other stuff that'll make me be like, oh, okay, finance on me. I can handle this. But I would never say never. I mean, I'm just saying, like, some people can come. And then on top of that, too, you don't know when people are out here dating, you don't know when they're talking about finances. So there can already be this attachment to this other person before you even realize that he's making 50K and you're making 300K, so it just depends. I'm not going to say it would never happen, but I know it would take some adjustment. I can tell you, I'm not looking for it.
Right, you're not looking for it. That's not something you're interested in. And what I'm saying is, if you ask a man that, a man wouldn't give the answer you just gave. Like, she would have to be really coming. But like, nah, he'd be like, oh, it's fine. Like, you ask me, like, I pay for everything. I pay for every single thing, and she stay at home and she take care of the house. I wouldn't see no problem. I'd be like, that's fine. Buddy Lee, you pay for every single thing, and you got a wife, she stay at home, take care of the house. You got a problem with that?
Nope.
All right.
But what I'm going to ask now, because I'm going to go back to a question I asked earlier when we started this gender conversation. Whose standards are we measuring our roles against? And I'm not asking that. That's just the question I asked earlier. But now I want to ask this question as we get ready to wrap this conversation up. Should we be changing the rules to suit us today? Because apparently there is some resistance on both sides. I'm hearing it just in this conversation alone, right? I'm hearing it. But where is,
go back to the 30s.
But where's, okay, you want to go back to the 30s. So where is the submission from both
30s,
sides?
40s.
Because if the women have to submit, the men also have to submit. Correct, fellas?
No.
Oh, the men don't have to submit.
The men lead.
So the men don't have to agree. They just lead.
Somebody, because somebody has to lead. Like we just saw on this.
So wait a minute.
Show,
so wait.
nobody was leading.
So wait a minute. So the woman has to agree and he has to lead.
Right. So
now what is that based on? What, because that's going back to the rules, the standards, right? You're this is a standard by which you're thinking we should operate. Now I'm curious if the women think we should operate with this same standard. But I want to hear you out.
So the standard I'm going with is, if you look at any structure in the world, any business, any kingdom, any government, anything that's ever ran in the world that's been successful, you had a leader and you had people under that person that submitted. So you look at matter of fact, I was talking to somebody about every single business in the world. Every single company that's successful, they have a CEO and they have somebody who leads the vision for the company. They lead the company forward, and you have everybody who falls underneath that and falls in line underneath the company and submit, and people submit to the person higher further you go down the line. There was only one company that tried the collaborative thing where they had a bunch of people at the top collaborating and there was no one leader. That company was called Nordstrom's. So Nordstrom's, the mall, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. They tried this approach, I think it was for 4 or 5 years. And they came out of that approach because their stock price, if you look at their stock price, it started to fall tremendously. And so they finally came out because they weren't able to pivot and make decisions fast enough because they had no actual leader. And then they actually named the leader, named the CEO, and then went back to the traditional way because they saw that collaborative way did not work, and their stock price started to rise again, and they started to weather the storm and be profitable.
Okay, so let me ask you more specifically then, Freddie B. Does it have to be the man that is in the leader position, or can the female be in the leader position and the man be in the submission, the agreement position?
I think that will be optimal based off what we just said, because if the woman is leading and then the man is submitting to her, then just naturally respect falls, because women naturally, you want a man that's gonna make sure you're good, like make sure, like if a bump in the night
all those superlatives they listed earlier, right?
Somebody just said security earlier. They want security.
It's actually security, right? You want that man to secure. If bump happened tonight, somebody runs up on the car, something happens.
But wait a minute, now Fred, let me argue this real quick. Can she not say, "Hey, get your ass up"? Something just happened. She still led the situation. I mean,
no. If you the leader, like you handle that.
No, but I'm saying because she's hey, babe, go, something happening.
No, because like I said, if we go back to the analogy I was saying about a company. If something is happening, like something goes wrong with the company, you send the leader out there to fix it. You send the leader, you go fix it.
No, the leader can be a delegator. Can he not?
Mm-hmm.
The leader delegates it, but the leader delegates on something that's specialized.
Well, I mean, it seems that security might be a specialization of men. So I'm formulating the argument because we have not been successful under the current situation where we are, where we think, you know what I mean, that the men have to lead, the women have to submit. And I'm just suggesting I won't say
half. I won't have to.
Okay.
I don't say a man has to.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
I think that's optimal. You know what I mean? But, obviously, because like I said, nothing in this world is absolute. So nobody has to do anything. Like, no, you can do whatever you want. So there's some women that really like, I'm going to be the leader. You can submit to me. And there are some men like, okay, I'll submit to you. You take care of it. That's fine. Like, I can just, I don't have to worry about making any decisions, and let her be out in front. Let her handle it. Me, I don't look at it like that. I look at it from a standpoint of going back to the question, like what a black man does. Like when I have a wife, like I make sure that she's good. Like she shouldn't have to go out and figure anything out. Like I got it all. Like something happened and it gets a little too hard. Babe, can you handle this? Boom, got you. What's going on? And I take care of it. Put gas in the car, all the way down to put gas in the car. Run to the store, it's late at night. I'll run to the store and I'll get it. Like, make sure that whatever she needs in the home to feel comfortable, to feel safe, to feel at ease, she has it and it's there. Mm-hmm. Like, she don't have to go out and go do that. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Like, because I'm the leader and I make sure she's good. I'm providing the security for the home. And what all that means, what a leader should do. A leader should figure out, and then if there's something I can't do, I can figure out how to get it done for her.
Ladies, should we change the rules to suit us for today's time? Because like you said, the women, Shanette said she's going up, getting that money, and then she meets these toxic men. Maybe we need to change the rules. So that you don't meet the toxic men. Should we change the rules? To fit us as black folk, because the rules is working for the white folks over there. But I'm talking about for our community, right? The issues we have in here locally at home.
Oh, Shanae, I thought you was about to say something. I thought I heard you breathe.
You did. I was trying to get my thoughts together. Go ahead.
It's okay. Yeah, take your
time. So the question is, should we change the rules of how
our standards we've been measuring our roles, our gender roles against these set of standards that is out there, right? Men should do this, women should do that. Men should do this, women should do that. But for our community, we are slowly falling apart. Less of us are getting married. Like all this stuff is happening. Do we need to make a shift and change? Freddie B said men should lead, women should be submissive, and that's that. But that sounds traditional to me. That's what we've been doing, and I'm just asking.
Yeah, that is traditional.
Should we change? Should that be shifted?
I think it should be shifted. Of course, each person and what they require, what they need is slightly different. And I think it's important for each individual person to really assess what it is their requirements are and their expectations are. In terms of like the community as a whole, I do think a shift needs to happen. Like me personally in our relationship, there are times where, for the most part, my husband leads and I'm submissive, but there are times where I lead and then he's submissive.
Gotcha.
You just got to find what works best for you in your relationship. So, that just kind of, that works for us. It just depends on what the situation is, on who takes the lead in the situation. But so I guess the way our dynamic works is just a little less traditional than like what Freddie B was talking about. But that works for us.
Okay.
I think I'm struggling to answer the question because I feel like that if you change the rules and there's a shift, I don't think it can apply to every household or every relationship. I think that's the problem, is that I don't think there can be an overall changing of rules to fix the problem. I think we have to personalize every single thing. And that's what we don't do. We judge, the Black community judge off of what we think the rule is, rather than looking at a successful family and saying, hey, that worked for them. Kudos to them. We don't give the family kudos that figured it out, whether that's the woman leading or whether it's the man leading. We don't even give them their props because they figured it out and it was a non-traditional way.
But you know what? I think, Shanette, you just said something that's very important to the conclusion of our conversation here. And it goes back to when we first start talking about examples of how did you learn how to become a woman? How did they learn how to become a man? You know, we need to somehow implement examples that we have collectively agreed upon. Because you see, we live underneath rules no matter where we go, right? There's rules. Like if you're on that island, Bear Grylls Island, there's rules. If we don't get water, we die. If we don't get food, we die. We need fire to cook the food or we get sick. We live underneath rules no matter where we go. You can't drive your car down a highway at any speed. You got to adhere to the speed limit. That had to be agreed upon per that county, per that whatever, right? And so what I'm saying is that, and I'm simply just, putting this out there, is saying it seems as though the rules as they stand may not have been working. Possibly, maybe we haven't been following correctly. There could be reasons for why they haven't been working, like you were suggesting, Shanette. But if they aren't working, should we change them? And it sounds to me like you say, no, we should not change them, but we do need examples of people underneath these particular set of gender roles as we believe them to be today, to show us how to work them. Am I hearing you correct when I say that?
Yes.
So last question for tonight, and it really is a simple question, because now that we know where the issues lie, we know some of the things we need to do to try to maybe fix them and try to get better. I want to know, are you guys who are single? And this is a Shanette question. Actually, I guess it could be a Dr. Butterly, Afraid to Be, and a Shanette question. Because Lonnie, you got your forever happily ever after.
Oh man.
So
I don't get to ask the question.
You can ask. You can answer.
Shit.
We're gonna make that a sound effect. Shit. Well, let me ask y'all this.
I think hers better than that dude. What show was he from? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Shit.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Do we spend too much time living in hell with each other versus looking for the partner that truly suits us so that we can survive?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes. And to add to that, I think we do. A lot of people do, because they don't focus on what they want. They just know what they don't want.
Lonnie Boo?
Pre-marriage, I would definitely say yes.
So you was living in hell with a bunch of...
Man, you have no idea.
The dude she sent home walking.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the barefoot dude. You told us about that, yeah.
That was what, three episodes?
Yeah, that was a funny one.
Yeah, that was pure hell.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm assuming Shanetta know about that, because she just laughed louder than you when I said that.
Yeah. Yeah, she knows.
Oh, okay.
Well, look, man.
But hey, Thomas,
go ahead,
I will tell you.
Doctor,
but on that, I believe that we should have more communication on what we do and don't, do's and don'ts of what we will and will not tolerate. More people need to be open about that versus worried about, am I going to lose this person? Is it, whatever it is. We should have an open dialogue about it so that we both know it's like, well, I don't know if this is going to work out. Mm-hmm. So you can cut loose early versus getting your feelings all involved, and then now it's getting hard to walk away from it.
Right. Well, listen, I just want to thank you all for being on tonight. It seems we have way too many feelings about whether we can survive without each other and what our gender roles are in the Black community today. We need to figure out.
Hey, wait, to be clear, I don't want to have to survive without women. So let me throw that in.
Oh, well, you said no earlier. Okay.
I don't want to have to.
Okay.
Like to survive, I could, but now that I definitely don't want.
So y'all don't want. Okay. Do the women y'all want to survive without? Y'all need the men?
Nah, I needs my man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. So we do need each other. And we
Absolutely.
And we do need some important gender roles in our society so that we can, we need to cultivate some of these gender roles so we can rebuild our families today, right? I mean, I think that's what we kind of collectively discovered just from these questions and these answers we've been hearing. So look, send us a message. Our handles are in the description below. Let us know how you feel about if you need men. Men, you need women to survive? Women, you need men to survive? And what are your gender roles you live by? Tell us. We love to hear your feedback. This has been a good one. I've been here with...
It is your main man, Freddie B, lover of black women worldwide.
All right. Freddie B, Mr. Lover, man. Lover. Mr. Lover. Who else we had?
It's your girl, Lana Boo, supporter of all black men.
All right. Okay. All right. Shoot, we get a turnaround. Okay, here we go. Woo. Who else we got? Where we at?
It's the good doctor, Dr. Buddy Lee, and I love you women. I love black women all around the world.
Shanette, you gonna have to take us home. Take us home, Shanette.
Hey, it's Shanette, and yes, I love all black men.
Man, that's wild.
Yes.
Woo. Hey,
Yes,
look, and
yes.
I've been yours truly, T Staples. And make sure you catch us next time when we have too many feelings. Peace.